Moments That Matter is brought to you by Binkley Ross Family of Funeral Homes and by Melise's, the best little suit shop in town.
Welcome to Moments That Matter. I'm Melise Oakley, and I'm with the Voyage Senior Living. I am with Deborah Hogg, and we are going to talk about a hot topic, which is dementia and Alzheimer's.
I'm excited about this topic because it so works with Moments That Matter, because that is something that I think any family that is going through the dementia, Alzheimer's, that should be the key part of their involvement, is making moments that matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we know that over 7 million people have Alzheimer's. By 2050, it's going to triple. If it's, I believe that's the low ball.
Mm-hmm.
But both you and I have had it in our family. So just kind of tell us about how it has affected your family and who has had it.
My grandfather on my mother's side died with it like in 68.
Okay.
And that's not what they were calling it. Mother, she when her husband died in 2000, I think it was that life-changing moment.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the precursors
Right.
that can help.
And I think that that's what that was for her. We saw changes in her and her behaviors and things that she was doing, trying to manage it. And you can't, as long, and this is what I was told by an attorney, is that you can't take things from her or take control of her if you go to court. If she can say her name
Mm-hmm.
and where she wants to live.
And they perform.
They do.
Especially in front of others.
Absolutely. So there's nothing you can do about that. So we just stayed close to her. But in 2005, she took me and my sisters to Hawaii. She always wanted to go to Hawaii. So we booked the trip and did not realize
How bad it was.
Yeah, how severe she was until we're driving to St. Louis to catch a flight at 3:30 in the morning. We're in the car and we realize something's wrong. Something's not exactly right. And the trip was memorable in a lot of ways, good and challenging. But we did it for the time. But there were a lot of things that we had to adjust and to accept in her behaviors and the way that went. So,
Like the moments that matter.
Exactly. And we had some good ones. We had some really good ones. There were some that were very challenging. But when we came back, it was even more magnified, I guess, with her behaviors and all that. So we were starting to pay more attention to what was going on with her. But 18 months before she died, she came home. And as her children, there were 5 of us, we all met, talked, what are we going to do? And I said, I can do this. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. So I can do this. You all just be sons and daughters, and I'll be
The caretaker.
and I'll be the one to stay with her. And it worked out really well, I think, for the family overall. But it was that consistency with her. And that's one of the things that you have to pay close attention to, is that a lot of people, a lot of conversations, a lot of activity can create some challenges for someone who has dementia, Alzheimer's. So learning that, and again, every day it was, let's make these moments matter. I love that you've chosen this for the podcast, because it is so very important that it's not easy to care for on a regular basis. It is not easy to do that. And some can't do it in their own home. That other options you have to look at, whether they need to go to assisted living like the Anchor at the Voyage, or just to find a place that they're safe and they're also cared for. For me with my mother, we were able to keep her at home. I had a caregiver that I split the time with, so I was still working full time and taking care of my mother with Alzheimer's. And then my mother-in-law moved in to our home. So I had my mother-in-law at my home. I went to my mother's home to take care of her. And it was a balancing act for sure. But again, moments that matter. And I think we have to focus on that when we're working with a provider who's providing care. And just a general overview of someone who has Alzheimer's.
Well, the caretakers take a big hit to it also. And this is one thing that you and I have always said, that growing up, I remember going on an airplane and they would have the oxygen mask come down, and it would put it on yourself and then you put it on your child. And as I was growing up, I thought that was backward, but it isn't. You have to, as a caregiver, take that oxygen in, because if you go down, they go down.
Exactly.
So like you said, the Voyage Senior Living, we have the Anchor, and that is our memory unit. And it's very important for people to realize you have to meet them where they're at. You were able to meet her where she was at. And you always have those great stories of her. Like, for instance, I love the story of her playing the piano. You have to tell that story.
It was, she wasn't walking any longer. She was in a wheelchair, and I would transfer her, to the couch, the chair, the bed, or whatever, and move her, to the table to have lunch, all of that. And one day I left, I went to the bathroom, and when I walked back in the room, she wasn't in her chair. She was sitting at the electric piano. And I said, "Oh, Mother, okay, you gonna provide us with some music?" She turned it on and just the rhythm thing, how the electric pianos do. And she started just like banging on it. She was, hitting the keys, and she stopped and she said, "I had no idea that I knew how to play the piano. Did you know that?" I said, "Do some more." And she did, but in her mind. But the other thing is that she saw that piano, and
she wanted to,
and her chair,
right?
Yeah, her chair was across the room, but she wanted to go there. So she got up and walked. I mean, sometimes that stuff happens, But she was a runner. She was always looking for that man that got away. She knew his truck. She was sure, and she would see it. She would see it go by. She would see a vehicle go by, and she would think that it's him. So,
and you wouldn't argue with her.
Oh, no,
never argue.
No, didn't change her. Didn't say you're wrong. Didn't do that. But we put sensors on the doors because she was going out so much, and just paying close attention to her getting away. And we put the sensors on the doors. Well, she would go in the silverware drawer and get a butter knife, and she would go in and pop it off, and then it wouldn't go off, and she'd be gone. But I could look out the window, and there she's going down the street, and I would run behind her and say, Mother, where you, what, can I go? Can I go?
Instead of reprimanding her,
right?
You would go with it.
Yep. And then we would just go down the next block, left. We'd be back home. And by the time we got back home, she was good. But yeah, there were some challenges, but it would make you, it's moments that matter. Those things that you remember, and that you can appreciate the time that you got to spend, and let them be who they are. Don't try to change them. Don't try to correct them. Don't do any of that. Just go inside where they are. Be a part of where they're at. And as long as they're safe, they're not hurting anyone, they're not hurting themselves, you just go with it.
So we have at the Voyage Senior Living, we have a Dementia Live experience. And you helped me bring this to Southern Illinois. And it is a really neat thing because you feel what it feels like to have it. We will educate the caregivers. We also educate our staff at the Voyage Senior Living because if you're 85 and older, you have a 1 in 3 chance of having it. And I am so drawn by the fact of we were a little bit ahead of the times because whenever you and I did the training, it was an aha moment for both of us.
Absolutely. You think you know it, and you think you know it well because you've lived through it with a loved one, but not so much. Not whenever you give consideration to what they might be going through and how they're responding to it. Is I see this with my family, with my brother, that a lot of conversation, a lot of people talking, and more than 2 people. And when you've got that going on,
it's too much.
It is.
And it affects their hands, their eyes, everything.
Overstimulated. We have to remember that. And even, with the one-on-one, if you're wanting to spend some time, the other thing that we noticed was silence. If you go in to visit someone, the silence helps say a few words, but it lets them kind of settle in, and they may or may not have conversation, but most of the time do, and not to ask questions.
Right.
Yeah. Don't ask questions. Don't have them try to answer things. Identify yourself.
Right.
That's important. But love.
Absolutely.
Love.
I think that I connect with people that have dementia because at the age of 7, I was diagnosed with a learning disability, and it was called receptive aphasia. And in fact, they thought I had a hearing problem because it was not going into my brain and I wasn't able to process it. So I always say, I found that with dementia and families, I want to help. And that's the thing. That's the great thing about the job I have now. I'm able to help people to be able to, to caregiver resources and things like that. We want to be a resource. And that's what I love. And I've learned from you being in community and reaching out. And that's what we want to be, a source. Because the more you're around it, the more you can understand it.
Absolutely.
Knowing what they used to do, having them not feel bad about what they're doing.
Yes.
And I remember my dad, he was a photographer for 45 years. And at the time, it was kind of sad. He was getting people in walkers and wheelchairs, and he was positioning them. And I didn't know what he was doing. And we gave him a little camera. And at that time, he lost it. But he backs up and he just does this, like he was taking pictures of him. And I have an actual picture of him doing that. And it was a moment that matters.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize how precious that would be until they're gone.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
making every moment that matters and enjoying it. Yeah. So you also said that with the one things that you learned too with your mother is meet them where they're at.
Dr. Parks told me that when she was diagnosed. He said, the best advice I can give you is go where she is. Meet her where she is, and don't be requiring a lot of things of her. Just enjoy your visit.
Roll with it.
Yeah, yeah. And he said if she bakes a cake and she uses salt instead of sugar, whip it up, put it in the oven, cook it, and when that's
She's
done,
not looking, throw it away.
Yeah. Oh, we hate that. Yeah. So, those kind of things. And that's what makes the experience for both, for the patient and then also for the family member, the caregiver.
And the other thing that we've learned too with the same Educate, the company that has helped us with the Dementia Live experience, is also the compassionate touch that we're also coaches. We need at least 13 touches a day.
Yeah.
And it seems that people, when they get older or they're at their later of life, people get kind of scared. But that's when we need to embrace. We need to be touching. We need to be, and there is a scientific background on this. And we also have that we're teaching on caregivers to do, to be better caregivers. And we all know, we're in everyday life, but we're not getting enough touches. And that's what's so important. Caregivers need to realize that. And they need to also get the compassionate touch. We're very passionate about a lot of things, but dementia and Alzheimer's. And it's my grandfather, my dad, my aunt, and also my uncle all had it. With your diagnosis, it has also helped you. So it's a positive thing.
Absolutely.
You got your markers on your diagnosis, but it can be a good moment. What would be one thing that you would like to tell a caregiver?
Well, and I think, we probably need to address the fact that there are some that have dementia, Alzheimer's, that their personality totally changes, and they can do things that you would never expect, or say things that you would never have expected from them, but they do. And I think that is one of the moments when you need to make it matter. You need to be where they are. And, sometimes they're hurtful. I mean, sometimes they can cause injury as well. And those are things that we have to face. However, I think that with a loved one that is going, the best advice that I could offer would be realize that you're not in your world. You're in theirs. And
know where they're at.
And let them be, who they need to be at the time, correcting them, telling them, no, that's not right. All of those things.
As long as it doesn't hurt them.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
My dad thought I was my mom, and it was fine until he tried to romantically kiss me. And I was like, okay, well, we got to stop that. But got a little uncomfortable, but you just kind of have to just go through it. And it actually is a moment that I remember that it's kind of funny and so forth.
Yeah. Just to share, though, that the Dementia Live and the Compassionate Touch is available.
Yes.
To be shared in the community and with families, individuals.
And it's free.
Absolutely doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't take long to do it either. So you can either go to them or they can come to you to have that experience, because what it's going to show you is some of the challenges that will be given to your loved one. And that's going to be button-up shirts, tie shoes. There are a lot of different things that, and two, that they forget.
Yes.
Not even to know what it is. A shoe is what? Where does it go?
Right.
So all of those things, be mindful of, ask questions, find a resource.
Find out where they're at.
Exactly. Exactly.
And there's other things that we can talk about later about things that you can do to help enrich their lives and also your lives with Alzheimer's or dementia. Thank you for coming on today, and I appreciate you talking with me. I am Melise Oakley with the Voyage Senior Living with the Moments That Matter.
Moments That Matter is brought to you by Binkley Ross Family of Funeral Homes, locally owned and operated. Binkley Ross Funeral Home, Blue Funeral Home, Mitchell Hughes Funeral Home. Call 618-997-7771 or find them at binkleyross.com. And by Melise's, tuxedos, menswear, custom embroidery, and apparel. Melise's, the best little suit shop in town. Call 618-993-1800 or go to melises.com.